typically think of them as being here with us. Judy as well. But it's so nice that Fred and Chester can join us, and Dad's here as well, somewhere. And Fred was just telling me that he's come out of the wilds of the ocean from how many days? 140 days on a cruise ship?
124 at that time.
24. Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going to Australia. I think that one's 71 days.
70.
70. I'm stand corrected. 70 days. Last year we did 9 months on the boat.
9 months?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are basically just living on the boat.
Actually, it's almost as cheap as living on the land.
Well, you're the one that's kind of convincing me of that. You keep coming back with these stories, and it sounds like if the boat's got health care, that seems like a real smart place to be living.
Well, they got health care, but they charge dearly for it.
Morning, Jim.
You would not want to seek medical help on a ship.
Yeah.
Do we need any more of these?
Which
Jim?
do you think's a more difficult place to get medical help, the ship or San Carlos?
What are you saying?
Do we need these? These sink things?
I don't think so.
Okay. I didn't think so either, but I just thought since it's
Hi, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Good enough. I am 1 week into a 2-week treatment with Euphodex for skin cancers, and my face is on fire. Other than that, I'm just fine.
Sounds very unpleasant. Is it all positive results so far?
Yeah, it's always positive. It's just getting there that's such a royal pain.
Oh, gee, so you've dealt with it before.
Yes, I have.
What do they do?
Treating pre-cancer, right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You're treating pre-cancer.
That's exactly correct. So that you hopefully won't have to do cuttings and Mohs surgeries and things like that.
Yeah.
What?
I've had that done twice.
Yeah.
The whole face was basically peeled.
Wow.
Yeah, well, the ladies would consider it a chemical peel, because you get all that brand new baby skin underneath after it's all over.
Oh, that's really interesting. What provokes this kind of treatment? What does a doctor end up seeing in you going, you should do this?
Well, basically, it's the signs of a misspent youth. It's all the time we spent in the sunshine when we were kids.
Wait, are you saying that I'm going to be free and clear of such things since I grew up indoors in front of my computer?
Actually, you may have less of an opportunity than the rest of us, but almost certainly you'll have it too.
Yeah. I probably got skin cancer from the radiation of the old CRT monitors as beams being shot at me.
Could be indeed.
When I've had that done, what they did is they had a roller that had little knives in it, and they rolled that all over your face.
Oh, God.
And then they smeared on a chemical, and all of that scabbed over and healed with new skin.
Wow.
But 1,000 little cuts?
Yep.
Sounds like a Chinese torture.
Really?
Actually, it doesn't hurt. When they put the chemical on, of course, there's a sting to that. And ever since then, I've treated individual places on my face with a chemical that Dr. Canale in San Carlos gave me probably 20 years ago.
What's it called?
Tiny chemical that I just put on spots that are red that are the same thing, and they heal over.
So
I think that's what I'm going to be doing after this. This is a 2-week drill, and when it's over, it's over. But after that, when everything heals up, I think I would do the same thing you're describing, which is spot treat from time to time.
I'm still curious. It wasn't clear to me. Did you elect to do this like preventatively, or did a doctor tell you should do this?
My dermatologist.
Okay.
You know, here, at our age, Scott, every time we go back to the States, one of the first things we do is see our dermatologist, who looks around and says, okay, since last year, this has popped up, and we'll take a look at it and biopsy it. And sure enough, it turns out to be a skin cancer. And so they do whatever they do. But then, in addition to that, they'll look and say, okay, here we have a bunch of little precancers, as Chester was pointing out, that could turn out to be something serious later on.
Who are waiting for something to happen that will get relief now under this new program.
Hey, Bob.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised, Scott, you're not aware of it with me, because I've gone through years of doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, I've got stuff I'm using on my nose right now. Same process that they're talking about.
Well, you know, I look at myself in the camera, and it's not nearly as noticeable as when I look at myself in the mirror. I mean, there are red splotches all over here. So I guess we're lucky that way, Terry.
That's probably AI. They're just cleaning up the image, giving us the prettiest version of you. You can laugh, but that's what's going on right now. Is that we've had filters for a long time, the equivalent of AI filters for things like Instagram, where they're putting makeup on or taking wrinkles out. You guys have seen some of that stuff for de-aging, aging,
right?
And Apple has been including AI in their photo stuff for a long time now. We use AI as a generic term for this generative stuff that's been used for a long time. And Apple's been applying it to photos and camera stuff for a while now. I would not be surprised if the discoloration in your face is not being presented because it's being cleaned up as it's being sent out to us.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
I have an interesting medical topic if anyone is interested.
Sure. And let me start out by just saying, hey, I'm a father, and I know a lot of you are, so let's say Happy Father's Day. We had a nice celebration with my father and my brother-in-law last night because we couldn't all be together on Sunday, and we couldn't be together on Sunday. So Happy Father's Day to you guys out there. And
thanks indeed.
We don't have any real agenda. I've got a couple of real light topics on my document. So, Chester, we'd be happy to hear your medical topic.
Well, this is a Mayo Clinic, who I'm a patient of, got me involved in this, and it's a worldwide study that is going on, and it's a DNA study. And I submitted, of course, a sample. And this last week, I got back all the results. And I thought it was quite fascinating. The first issue was what potential diseases do I have in my DNA? And I had to sign an affidavit that allowed my ancestors to check on that if they wanted to.
Oh.
Come to find out, I really didn't have any DNA type diseases. The next thing other things that began to surface was that, of course, it tells you where you're from, what part of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm probably like 80% Northern Europe, which means England and Scandinavia. 8% from the Baltics, and then 8% from somewhere in Asia. I think that all adds up to 100. And incidentally, it also tells me what color eyes I'm going to have, and the fact that almost 90% of all blue-eyed people are European. There's almost 2% otherwise throughout the world.
Really?
It told me how tall I was going to be. It told me how fat I was going to be. It told me how my skin would sunburn or would tan. and I'm more prone to tanning than I am to sunburning. It told me the color of my eyes. I think I mentioned that. It told me what some foods I don't like, and those have to do with cabbage and that type of leafy food, including uh, what the black seed, which is or something greens. Um, anyway, it was kind of fascinating of all the things that it could tell you just from looking at your DNA.
Well, Chester, you said it was telling you how fat you would be, your skin. I mean, at this stage in your life, is it accurate? Because
I would say accurate, yes.
yeah, I mean, it got your eye colors right. It got
It
it,
got my hair color right. My hair doesn't curl; it's straight. Um, the foods I like, it was correct on that. Um, and some other things I just can't roll off the top of my head, but it was an interesting study.
yeah, that sounds interesting. You submit your DNA, and it would be really interesting if it came back as some black woman that's pregnant. But it is interesting that it would be so accurate for you that you felt like it was good
Oh
information.
yeah, I felt like it was very accurate in everything it told me.
As I listen to you, Chester, makes me think we might be twins.
Hey,
Well,
Irving's
in a
joined
different
us and
DNA
Judy's
study, I found
joined
out-
us. Welcome. We got started on time, so you're just catching up with us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
In a
morning.
different DNA study, it told me that I was about 80% English with a little bit of Irish. But this wasn't quite that specific. This was more northern Europe and the cold climates.
I wonder if that's reflective of trying to be more accurate, since that's an area where these DNA tests took a lot of criticism at first, was regional locations of your ancestors. I wonder if they're intentionally more vague now, trying to be more accurate, if you follow what I mean.
Well, basically, I had two DNA tests over the years that have said the same thing, which is Northern Europe, in one case specifically to England, and the other one Northern Europe, where in the cold climates.
Good morning, Paul. We're just getting started.
And Urban hooked up too.
There's Irving.
Yeah, Irving's with us. Judy's with us. We're talking about Chester's DNA study at the moment. But the floor is open to any topics. If anybody has brought anything that they're trying to sort out, they're looking for advice or help, or have something that they think we should know about, feel free to chime in with a topic. In general, what I found interesting in the last week, and I don't have a specific link to anything, is just the Apple announcement that came out, if anybody was paying attention to that last week. And it follows, it's on the tails of the Microsoft announcement that somebody had actually asked me in a prior computer club meeting about the new AI stuff, the Copilot stuff that's happening with Microsoft, and then immediately after that they were announcing all these Copilot PCs. And
Well, I believe that either Amazon or one of them is in serious trouble with everybody else because they're making it common and apparently free. And so everybody else is being critical of them.
you know, this is an old playbook from Microsoft. We should pay attention. They did this with Internet Explorer and drove Netscape out of business because at the time nobody was using web browsers that they didn't have to buy, and Microsoft wanted a big chunk of that internet market. You guys might remember back in that day, Bill Gates told us that the internet would be a fad, and so they didn't bother to really put any resources into it, and then all of a sudden Netscape was just eating their lunch, and they realized they needed a piece of it. So they built their own browser, Internet Explorer, and they stuck it out there on every version of Windows 98 that people would buy, and then they got sued by the DOJ for monopolistic practices. So this is kind of the way Microsoft does things. It's funny because they've got completely new leadership, but this is an old tactic. They'll just dump it out there for free. And I think I even was advising you guys. They put it for free in the Edge browser for mobile. So there's a lot of people running around doing Chat GPT, paying monthly to have conversations with their phone. And you can just do it right from the Edge browser for free. No reason to get that Chat GPT account. Microsoft is putting a button on their computers. They're calling it Copilot Plus PC. And they've released a whole new line of Surface laptops as kind of, what do they call them? They're profile builds, they're example builds. They basically are an example to the industry of what partners could be creating. They actually are, by doing so, they're encouraging their partners to compete with them with similar devices. And so that first wave of Copilot Plus PCs are hitting the market very, very shortly. If not this month, by the end of this month, we'll be seeing these PCs. And I find it a very difficult place to be because they don't have the new Qualcomm chip that has been built to compete with the Macintosh chip. They're only in these Surfaces right now. I've gotten off on a tangent that I'm not ready to actually get deep into. So if anybody wants to add anything to it, feel free. The goal since 2020 has been to catch up with Apple's technology. And Qualcomm announced their chips in conjunction with Microsoft's release. And they are, what are they called? The X Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite. I think that's Elite and Pro, I think, are the ones that we're talking about. Oh, it looks like Asus. I just did a Google search on it.
I'm not adding, I have another question. Okay, so we talked about this before, but I'm getting ready to buy a new iPad. And 512 gigabytes is what I'm looking at. It's a Pro, and 1 terabyte is $400 more. I can't remember, and I can't find my notes. Is that something I should do, or is it not worth $400 more? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Right, but 512 is 1,100 or $1,200, and 1 terabyte is 16. Yes, right. Right, but the Pro comes with the M4 chip. Mm-hmm. Right. iPad. Yep. And I really didn't like, well, and I didn't care much for when I compared the Air to the Pro. I didn't particularly like the comparison. Well, that's what I have now, and it's served me very well over the last 4 years or however old it is. And plus, I'll get uh, like 300 and some dollars trade in, or before I did. I don't know. I haven't checked it for a couple of weeks. So right. So what I'm looking at is the 11-inch model because that's what I have now, and it's just fine. And um, standard glass because I don't know what nano texture glass even means. And I don't know, it's low reflectivity. And then Wi-Fi because I don't need Wi-Fi and cellular. And that's how I came up with my price. No, silver. You know, when you buy everything black and the floorboards of your car are black, it's impossible to find anything. If I do 1 terabyte, I do. No. I had an Apple Pencil. I never used it, so no. Great. I didn't think so either, but I cannot find my notes. But we had this discussion before, and I had my notes, and I was going to get it when I got back, and then of course I can't find my notes. So thank you. Right. Exactly. Or bigger. It is. It's kind of there.
I would, me personally, my financial situation, I would have to be able to justify that $700 more for an iPad, because what they haven't done is they haven't put a full-blown operating system on it. And so they've continued to treat it like a consumption device, and a lot of the features that you would take advantage of if you're paying that pro price would be things like video editing, which you can't buy outright. That on the desktop computer you can, what is there, is it Premiere? No, it's Final Cut. On the desktop you can own that outright. You can pay one flat fee, you run your software. Whereas the hello Cheryl, I'm sorry we didn't say good morning to you. We're happy you're with us. Sorry you're gonna have to leave early. But with the iPad environment, that iOS environment, you can't buy and I'm only using this as an example, the difference between the ecosystems. If you want to edit videos, you pay monthly for that service price, whether it be Adobe or it's Final Cut with Apple. They haven't given you all the tools that you would get out of a desktop version, and they've given you tools that you can only take advantage of in the iPad. It's a very strange product right now, and I sure have trouble recommending getting over $1,000 into it. Even though they're beautiful, the hardware just blows me away. The hardware is the future. But Judy, I would also think about, this is the M4. Have we guys talked a bit about how they ended up getting to the M4?
Yes, we did.
Because this is the new product. So it has had no time out on the market. And the first place they put it is into their mobile devices.
Well, but it's got a year in the market because
No.
they're getting ready to come out with another model in September. You know it. They do it every year.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean this product has been untested and it was only announced a month ago.
Right.
I think it
But
was last
that's
month.
every time I buy a new device in
Mhm.
September, then they come out with a new one. So mine's already a year old by the time I get it.
So what's important to recognize in this transition
Mm-hmm.
is that the M1, the M2, and the M3 are all using the same fabrication method. And the M3 got a little fuzzier because we were doing I think it was 4 nanometer technology, and the 3 was supposed to be 3 nanometer technology, and they weren't able to do it. And that's the uproar right now in the tech communities about they're abandoning the M3 design category because it was like a 3.5 nanometer. It was like this shim in their production schedule while they dialed in 3 nanometer production. All this says to me is that it might be worth waiting to see how the M4 makes out before investing a lot of money into it.
But on the other hand, if I don't buy one this summer, saying in July, then I'm in Mexico and this one could croak.
You're right. That's something.
And I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I think
Because
that's a valid
my
thing to be
iPad
concerned
is
about.
what I use for everything.
The other thing is that right now your previous product has the highest trade-in value.
Right. It's $385.
Yeah.
Because I just checked it.
You wait any longer and you lose that ability. Well, it's an interesting place to be. So this is the brand new 3 nanometer chip. Their new design, this M4. And so it really is the start of a whole generation of new products that will be coming out over the next year. It's just right at the very beginning of it. And I am very infatuated with the equipment. Oh, you're new.
Right now, I'm just trying to decide if I want to take the chance of not having an iPad sometime this winter coming up, because I really don't want to have to order one. I don't want to have to go to the States to get one. You know.
What kind of shape's your iPhone in? Is it new?
iPhone?
Yeah.
It's a 12.
It's
so
a 12.
No.
So we're at 15.
Yeah. And it's almost paid off. So now they're sending me.
They're going to send you a new one?
Well, no, they want me to get a new one.
Well, I'm just thinking that like a $1,200 budget's pretty high when you're comparing it to a $500 iPad. You have $700 left over.
I've been very happy with my Pro models of everything.
Okay.
So I'm very reluctant to go down in my expectations.
I understand. One of the things that the Pro product line, especially in the iPhones, I really appreciate is just the versatility of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
exactly.
That's one of the things that's being offered on the iPad Pro is two different lenses. Yeah.
And because I do use my iPad and my iPhone to take photos, that is important to me. So anyway,
no,
thank you.
Sure. And I hope everybody gathers from this kind of conversation that there isn't a right answer. There's a right answer for you, but there isn't a right answer for everybody.
So we'll see what I decide.
Yeah.
Vamos a ver.
Well, and you've got to bring, when we're doing in-person meetings, you got to bring it so I can play with it.
Right.
Oh, wait, I think I already figured out what you're doing. It's probably going to result in a new iPad. I I just bought a iPad, or I'm waiting for it to be shipped. We're trying to get BB ready. In fact, actually, I'm asking friends and family for donations. We're trying to buy her new equipment so that she's ready to go to France. She's doing her student exchange, and she will be in Paris starting August 27th. She'll be there. And so part of what I'm getting ready for her, and she doesn't know. Fortunately, she doesn't watch the Computer Club. I don't find out from you guys. Is that I've gotten a new M2 MacBook Air for her. She's currently using a 2015 MacBook Air. I've screwed up. I've turned her into a Macintosh person. So every time I look for technology for her, it gets more expensive. But she's such a Mac person that she ended up buying her own iPhone because she knew her parents wouldn't. And so she saved her quinceanera money and bought herself an iPhone. And now she's been using this MacBook Air, but the battery on it's down to less than an hour if it gets unplugged. No, she won't be in Paris for the Olympics. She'll be showing up right afterwards. She'll be in Alaska for the Paris Olympics. So enjoying it like Alaskans do.
And that's kind of what I'm noticing with my iPad is that it doesn't hold a charge as long as it used to. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but I can tell.
Well, for her, this will be a major upgrade. So we're doing the laptop, and then my plan is to get a year of iCloud for family share so that she can just back up the entire thing in her phone to a safe location in case anything gets stolen or broken. She'll have a backup of it. And then we're giving her a bunch of air tags so that she'll be able to tag all her bags and purses and things like that. So she'll be able to keep track of them. But it's an M2 MacBook Air, which is a much more impressive device than the one she's got. Mostly because it's got 2 USB ports and a mag power adapter. So you can actually plug 2 things into it. Innovative. From Apple. I wonder if you note my sarcasm. Anyway, that's exciting. It should be here today or tomorrow, and I'll be able to start looking at it. What else do we have going on? Cheryl, did you bring any topics for us today? Or Bill? Irving, you got any topics for us?
Just one. Oh, sorry, our GPS is going to talk to you too. Bill's driving.
All right.
We've just come from a Costco hearing aid appointment where Bill's hearing aids have not been working very well, and we didn't know if his hearing had changed or what was going on, and thought maybe he needed to get the new technology. It was time for new hearing aids. And the girl told him that the technology is the same in his 3-year-old ones. The only thing that he would get is an improvement in battery life with the newer models. So kind of saved us $4,000, which is kind of nice. So.
Well, that's interesting. Have you guys, I was walking through Walmart the other day, and I saw that in the health section, they're selling over-the-counter hearing devices that look like earbuds. They're basically like $500 earbuds that are intended for improving your hearing and used for your phone as well.
Well, Costco has the lowest end ones are $2,000 a pair, and they match your hearing test exactly. So that they adjust it to the tones that you don't hear and all that kind of stuff. So between 500 and 1,000, I would go for the ones that match your hearing.
There is that group, and I cannot remember the name. They're from Australia. They came up with these earbuds that are over-the-counter earbuds. HP branded them. and added like $300 to their price tag. So if you bought them from the original company, they're like $400. If you buy them from HP, they're like $700. But they do that. They use the phone to dial in your hearing, so they can be adjusted by you using the application instead of having to go to a doctor to have them adjusted. Wish I could remember the name of those. I'm doing a quick. Oh, Hearing Pro?
We're also in the Canadian US exchange era too. So,
Yeah.
well, your call is ending in 7 minutes and we have to go because our next stop is coming up. It was nice seeing you guys. I see Fred and Irving. We haven't seen you in a while. Talk to you guys later.
Back on.
Well, I know I've been concerned about it because I have just the slightest bit of hearing loss in one of my ears now. I have probably from too many rock concerts. And so I've been interested in seeing this technology. I want to see us get to the point where we're just going into a place like a Walmart and over the counter. So we were talking a bit about those new ARM processors that all these laptops are about to hit the market using this new technology, and they're being sold with AI. The new technology is amazing. AI is just as amazing as it has been for the last year. It's still quite a novelty. And it's kind of like buying an electric car because it's got really pretty headlights. The what they're doing with this chip is really impressive, but it's being marketed as an AI tool, which I think is probably not the most appropriate way to be marketing these new chips from Qualcomm. First of all, There's a lot of AI stuff that's been done in chips with the Apple stuff, even before these M processors. I see you, Judy, and call ending soon. 4 minutes to go. Maybe I'll just go ahead and open our next meet window so we can funnel over to that without interference.
How do I get onto it, Scott?
Here, I'll pass you. It's in the document I sent out, but I will drop it in the chat here. I'll drop it in the chat. Let's see. Chat. Why is it always in a different place? Here we go. So this is the meet we're moving to. Should be able to click on that. Nope. We got Judy and Jim in the other window now. Fred, I see your hand is up. Irving has made it over. Chester's making it over. All right. Hello. Who all's Fred, Dad? Looks like Jim and Irving are still in the old window, which doesn't. I'm gonna shut down this meeting in just a second. So move over to this new meeting. If you're still at Fred, if you and Dad are looking for it, I stuck a link in our old chat here. It should pop up on your screen, but it's also in the in-call messages. You can just click on that link, take you over. I'm going to start working from this window. Irving, did you have a question? I see your hand up.
No, when you have time, I got another subject if you want to explore it.
Oh, I'm just filling space right now. We'll explore any subject. What do you got going on?
Well, I read a very interesting article in the marine magazines that I follow, but also it led me to a very interesting article about TDK batteries, and I don't know if you've discussed this already. New sailboat technology in higher-end boats are not using generators now. They're relying on the lithium, new technology in lithium batteries, which have afforded so much more power and recharge rate that they're finding that they can do away now with generators, which was typical of sailing yachts and were highly dependent on it to supply basically a house. And so I see an article here where TDK that supplies Apple and Tesla has developed a battery with 100 times the energy store, 100 times the energy storage capacity.
Wow, so these are like similar to Tesla batteries, but intended for marine use.
Well, I don't know if it's designed specifically for marine use, but it's amazing that, generators was always a pain in the neck when you had a boat, a bigger boat, which I've had. And they're just an extra engine, which usually gives you more problems than your ordinary one. And by making that obsolete, in other words, I'll give you another idea of technology. In my boat up here in Alaska, I have a technology which did away with hydraulics on autopilots and steering in boats, which was always a problem. And it works perfect, and there's no more hydraulics involved. It's an electric gyro that steers the boat.
This battery situation that you're describing, is this... So instead of having a generator to generate power, you have what, an inverter that charges the battery?
Correct. You'd have an inverter, and you'd have supplemental solar panels.
Solar or wind, I would imagine. You could have a windmill to create electricity as well, and you're charging that that battery until in the evening when you're needing electricity. And then
Well, and the capacity is so much greater that, and through the inversion system, it's so much greater that they're actually, it's a liveaboard boat, and they're getting away with a generator. It's just like having an RV without a generator. It sounds pretty unreasonable, but I imagine that'll be the next step.
So if there's a shark and your boat is sinking and you have to choose whether to be electrocuted, which direction are you going?
Electrocuted every time.
I'd have to send my wife out first to do a
Hi,
test.
everybody. Electrocuted.
Electrocuted. Yeah, I'll take my chances with the low voltage I would be experiencing in the water around the battery. Sorry, I couldn't let that go. Yes, Fred.
I'm only getting half your picture again, like we did first with the iPad.
Okay, well, again, just go to where you see all of us in one and pin that. Hover over the one that shows the majority of us.
There we are.
Yeah. That's the experience on an iPad, is that my picture gets shifted off unless you have my presentation pinned where you can see everything. Well, that's very interesting. It'll be I wonder if we'll have things like we've been talking about: sand batteries, water batteries, gravity batteries. And I wonder if what we'll start to see shored up is and probably an analogy would be the petroleum industry, where we're kind of shoring up what we'll still use petroleum for in the future. Maybe battery technologies like lithium will end up, we'll continue to use them, of course, but they'll end up being in these special purpose environments. Like a boat is not going to be able to take advantage of a gravity battery or a sand battery. It's going to have a way to cart around a charge with it, a small package. And so right now, lithium makes the most sense for that. But the power wall that was being sold to us for a power source for your house is made up of lithium batteries, and maybe that won't be so appropriate in the future. Maybe something that's much more in tune with the environment would make more sense when you're looking at a dwelling structure like that, something like a sand battery or a gravity battery. Just food for thought. Well, I did bring a couple of topics, and maybe we'll finish our meeting. They're very straightforward stuff. I've got them in the document, and I'll put a link in our chat right now to that document if you're interested in looking at what I'm looking at. We'll just paste it here. There are two things that I saw in the news recently that I thought was interesting. One is that the Surgeon General is thinking we should and they're making the assumption that the same kind of effect could be had with digital products. The Surgeon General was to get behind supporting this stuff.
That's what we need, more regulation.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, Irving.
I think the point of doing it is to educate certain parents that are not aware of the danger that their children are subjected to. And if it accomplishes nothing but that, I think that's good.
Yeah, I tend to fall on that side of thinking as well. I don't think that it's actually going to do anything, but the point is raising awareness. And the fact that the Surgeon General would take it to the level as we took tobacco is really insightful for people that just aren't paying attention. I kind of I kind of equate it to what they did in Mexico with the sugary, fatty products, where now from a distance you can look at a convenience store refrigerator and you can see black stop signs that indicate how much sugar, how much fat, how much sodium is in any of these products. It does work. When I find myself wandered into an OXO and I just need a snack real quick, I will try to avoid those black stop signs as much as possible. And I become aware of stuff that I thought was fine, that in the States, we still have to look at the nutritional labeling on most products and do the math for ourselves on whether we think that's going to be a good thing for us to indulge in. But in Mexico, with the black stop signs, it's just very clear. If you're worried about sugar, if you're worried about fat, if you're worried about sodium, it's stamped right there on the package. Well, the other thing that I brought that I thought was interesting is that Microsoft and a number of other companies are getting in. You guys did see they rebranded AI as Apple Intelligence. It was a whole thing on AI, and it really spoke more to the investor than it did to the consumer. That Apple's in this game. They've got a clear-cut position. They've licensed with ChatGPT. They were telling us about their vision going forward, which is really, it seems like a natural progression. They want to wager their already existing AI hardware processing technology that already exists in your iPhones, already exists in your iPads, will be highlighted now as we move forward because of this AI revolution that we're in. They will be glamorizing a section of their technology that they've been doing for years. They will be glamorizing it for both consumers and investors to continue to remind people that they've been doing this all along. All of this feels like it's been in terms of raising stockholder wealth, and now the DOJ is going to start an investigation. And Chester, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment or two because the AI technology is what's carrying the market now. There are many stocks that are not enjoying what AI designated technical stocks are enjoying. But I would remind anyone that's going to make that investment that be careful. There were times when the microwave was the thing to invest in. There were times when the electric automobile was the investment objective, or when television was the thing to invest in. So over time, everything seems to mature and become a regular part of life. And so if you're going to invest in AI, do it with caution.
I hope everyone in our group recognizes my life experience and Chester's life experience and would not take any financial advice from me. Absolutely not.
Well said.
I would, but it is very impressive what's happening to the market, and I do feel like it's fictitious. I feel like it's a game to try and derive as much value as possible out of. They're making hay out of AI. It is an opportunity for somebody to get in and get out real quick, because what Chester's saying, I think sounds very sound, is that that's exactly what's going to happen. This is going to plateau and level out, and we will have really decent products coming in the future, and it will have marginal gains because it's just going to be technology. It's not going to be AI technology. It's just going to be technology. We're just in this period of Wild West where investors are they're being ginned up by AI terms, and it's turned into incredible capital growth for these companies. Probably very unjustified growth. I think Nvidia is a good example of that. Just the amount of value they have now. Aren't they the third most valuable company now? And it's happened in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They're right up there. I think Apple is third. I think they're above Apple right now, unless it's changed recently. And it's not because anything has changed other than this new focus on AI. And Nvidia is the one producing the chips that are in the data centers that are driving the AI clouds that you outsource your AI work to, the workloads in the cloud. If you're not familiar with the workflow as I'm describing it, I thought Apple did a good job of outlining their intentions as far as the cloud and on device. And they really are going after this idea that you will have small AI workflows. And we really keep in mind, every time I say AI, it's a shortcut to whatever technology they're branding as AI. When we say AI in this club, we're not pretending that we understand what's in the black box. We're just acknowledging that there's a box of tools that's being used in this instance, and it's not going to be the same box of tools that are being used in another instance. And companies like Microsoft are really convoluting the issue intentionally by labeling things like Copilot, saying it's Copilot, it's Copilot, it's Copilot. And as consumers and enthusiasts, we have to acknowledge that it's never the same Copilot. It's just the same in name only. every one of these things that have gotten branded as Copilot, and we're going to start to see it with Gemini on the Google side of things, and I would suspect we're going to see the same thing happen. I bet it's going to be Siri or Siri Plus, but I think that Apple will as well follow that marketing strategy of AI everywhere. It's going to be branded as something. But I think what's important as tech enthusiasts and as consumers in general, that we recognize it's just a name. It's like saying Nestle. You wouldn't expect to get chocolate bars out of your coffee maker. You wouldn't expect Copilot under Bing to be the same thing as Copilot under Word or Excel. These are different toolboxes, all being branded with the same name. And I have digressed so far on that point, I forgot what my point was. A fitting point for the San Carlos Computer Club. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about right at this moment. So yes, I think on a personal level, if you know what you're doing, this might be an opportunity to make some money. At the same time, it is just devastating to watch so many people being let go and wandering around trying to find new tech jobs simply because that seems to be the popular thing to do in the market right now, is to use this as an opportunity to cut dead weight, to call it AI, and to watch your tech stock prices rise up. Because you're doing an AI thing and because you're cutting your expenses at the same time. I feel like it's all very fictitious. At some point, it's all gonna end up leveling out in the end. So I think what Chester said is very true. There are moments, and I am the last person you should listen to for financial advice. I think that's enough said. Except for they're being investigated for these very same things that have been bothering me. Because people are losing jobs, because it feels like artificial value growth, then it seems like the FTC and the DOJ are going after different areas of these companies that include Microsoft, ChatGPT. We talked a little bit in the beginning of the meeting about how this is old school Microsoft playbook. They've put ChatGPT everywhere for free, so you don't have to buy a service if that's what you're looking for. It's Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, OpenAI that are the ones that are on the block right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. That might actually end up being a regular update to our computer club meetings, is what's happening with the AI investigations and lawsuits.
I like that idea.
We are reaching the end of our meeting. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes since we started. We normally end these meetings with some kinds of recommendations. They can be TV shows, movies, books, applications, events, websites, anything that you think that anyone else in our group might find valuable. If anybody has anything out there, go ahead and shout it out now. Nada. I have had an interesting experience. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Irving.
Okay, I just want to, I came up, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and I came up with a very good author. I'm going to try to get into it right now and see, give you her name. Yes. Her name is Dervia McTiernan. That's McTiernan. Tiernan. You may know her. She's brilliant. McTiernan, capital Tiernan, and the first name is Dervia, and D like David. And very few authors ever get a 10, and she's scored 2 with me. So, as far as my rating after a book, so I think she's well recommended.
Other recommendations. I put something. Oh, I put the movie Midnight Run on my list. We had my buddy Justin, who lives right next door. You guys know him. He's been to the club before. We've been doing some movie nights with 80s based movies and introducing them to our teenage children. He's got a 19-year-old boy. I've got an 18-year-old girl. And so we've been looking for movies from our past that we thought were funny or interesting and introducing them to these movies. Now, I remembered Midnight Run as a Robert De Niro, Charles Grogan. I still can't get that. A movie from our past, but I had not rewatched it in years. And we just had a lot of fun with the movie. Now I gotta look it up so I say his name correctly. Charles Grodin. Grodin with E.
Huh. I was trying to get in before we got off the air and hit the wrong button. I wanted to get the name of that hearing aid again. Okay. All right. I'll take a look and see what I can find.
We'll have our smartphones are just going to diagnose our hearing just like a doctor does, and our earbuds will automatically adjust to whatever our hearing is. Probably using AI. All right. Nobody found that as funny as I did.
I did, but that's critical when getting these hearing aids. Is fit is one of the major issues, and so I don't know how they're going to get that corrected.
You know what I think is really interesting that I don't see anybody really talking about is as these products age, and you've probably had this experience, as our products age, they get different performances. Your microphone gets worn out. It's one of the last moving parts in your device. Your speakers get worn out because they quite literally are moving air, and that movement wears out. And so it's not inconceivable to think that a microphone that's gotten old starts sounding different. Speakers that get old start sounding different. And with the idea of hearing aids having life on them, the idea that they could dial in, for lack of better terminology, reset itself to your ever-changing hearing, I think is going to be a real selling point in the future. You're one of the things that I've noticed with fingerprint readers is that as the fingerprint reader gets old, you have to put in your fingerprints again. Its ability to scan your fingerprints changes. I think it's because of things such as plastic aging, sensors changing their readings. But what you'll find with a fingerprint product, after it's got some years on it, it becomes less reliable with your original fingerprints, and you'll find yourself reassociating your fingerprints so that it'll go back to being reliable. And I think that we're going to experience that kind of drift in technology with these hearing aids as they get older, as you become reliable on them. You've got a technological drift in the equipment, kind of like tires wearing out on your car. And you've got a natural drift in your hearing. You're in this product to begin with because you're having issues with your hearing. And it seems like if you have the doctor in your device, you don't have to go to the doctor. You just reevaluate, and that drift is taken care of. Well, guys, I feel like we've reached the end of our meeting. It's just you, me, Irving, Fred, and myself. I think we've reached the end. Everybody else has left us. I got nobody here on my end to talk to. So I'm going to let you guys go, and hope to see both of you guys next week at the same time.
Thanks, Scott. Have a good one, everybody.
You too.
Have a good one.
week, and tech on.
Take care.
Take care.